The Lawyer and the Mafia Boss, a lesbian romance story by Sasha Clinton, narrated by AI Voices. Chapter 1. Ellie. Take it, Mark says, already pushing the file across my desk. Please. I look up from my screen. Good morning to you, too. The small law office I work at is quiet in the morning. The firm smells like old books and burnt coffee and familiarity. We are not impressive. No glass walls, no sleek branding, just 3 floors above a bakery that wakes up before dawn and sends sugar and yeast drifting into our hallways. We take mid-size cases, neighborhood disputes, divorces, property matters, some accident and injury cases too. Mark rubs the back of his neck, the way he does when he is pretending not to be nervous. Mark is a decent lawyer, smart, careful. He does not spook easily, which means the tension in his shoulders gets my attention. You remember the Jacobs case, he says. Commercial property, refused to sell. I nod. The vandalism, broken windows, intimidation. Yeah, he exhales. That. I flip open the file. Photos of shattered glass, a small storefront I recognize from the neighborhood, a place that sells hardware and lottery tickets, and coffee that tastes like burnt hope. People like Mr. Jacobs do not have the luxury of fighting back when someone powerful leans on them. Why are you giving this to me? I ask. He hesitates, then lowers his voice. Because the other side is connected. I wait. He swallows. Chicago connected. I finally look up at him. Define connected. Mafia, he says. Allegedly. The boss pointed a gun at me last time. I blink once. A literal gun. Yes, he says. Very literal. Very close to my face. And you did not call the police? He snorts humorlessly. And say what? That I walked into a lion's den after being warned not to? I close the file slowly. So why is there another meeting? Because I insisted on a neutral location. Public, restaurant. I am not going back into a private office with those people. I study him. And you think a restaurant makes it safer? It makes it visible. And you should be careful. I lean back in my chair. I am always careful. That is not the same thing, he says. Ellie, these people do not play by rules. I feel something tighten in my chest. Not fear, anger. Neither do bullies, I say, and that has never stopped me. Mark sighs. I knew you were the right person for this case. You hate injustice. I bet you'll make those thugs reconsider what they did to Mr. Jacobs. I know Mark is only praising me because he wants the case off his hands, but I'm a sucker for powerless people. I know the law is not always on the side of the victims, so I take every opportunity to represent those who deserve justice the most. Fine, you don't have to say more. I'll handle it, I tell Mark. He beams. You're a lifesaver, Ellie. I promise I'll pay you back. I spend 3 days poring over the files, coming up with strategies to convince the other party to settle. I know they're powerful, they have muscle, they have resources, but my client has me. I will make sure to teach them how scary the law can be. By afternoon, I'm feeling confident. I can win this case. I can reach a settlement with the other party that will be to my client's benefit. I gather my stuff in my work bag. My heels clack across the wooden floorboards. My boss, Ruth, is in her office with the door open, glassing readers perched on her nose. She looks up as I pass. Big, scary case? She asks. Apparently, I say. She smiles. Good. You do your best work when you are annoyed. She is not wrong. By the time I leave the office, the city is already shifting into evening. Chicago at dusk is all sharp edges and soft light. I walk the few blocks to La Scala, replaying Mark's words in my head. The boss pointed a gun at him last time. I push the thought away. Fear does not help clients. The restaurant is empty. That stops me short. Every table is pristine, candles unlit, chairs pushed in, no low hum of conversation, no clinking glasses, just silence, and the faint sound of classical music playing somewhere unseen. A waiter appears almost immediately. "Miss Hart," he says. I pause. "Yes?" "We have been expecting you," he says, already turning. "This way, please." My stomach tightens. "Is the restaurant closed?" I ask. "For the evening," he says smoothly. "Why?" He does not answer. He simply gestures toward a table near the back, perfectly set, isolated. Mark's voice echoes in my head. "Be careful." Because I booked the whole place for our meeting, I thought our conversation deserved some privacy. The voice comes behind me, low, female, amused. It makes my hair on the back stand up. I turn and come face to face with the most gorgeous female face I've ever seen in my life. It feels warmer between my thighs when she narrows her eyes at me. She stands a few feet away, hands relaxed at her sides, dark eyes locked on mine like she's been watching me longer than I realized. She wears a tailored suit that fits her body with devastating precision. Her breasts are high and full, her hips slim but curvy. Her figure is stunning. She could be a model. Her hair is pulled back, exposing a long, elegant neck. Her face is striking in a way that feels deliberate, sharpened by confidence rather than softened by beauty. There is something predatory in her gaze, something assessing, hungry. For a moment, the room tilts. I stand. "Who are you?" She smiles. It is not kind. It has teeth, and it comes with a silent warning. "I am the big boss, you could say. Mr. Russo works for me." Her lawyer steps into view beside her, older, gray-haired, nervous. He does not look at her when he speaks. Mark mentioned him, said he was hard-nosed and I should be prepared to raise my voice to get him to listen. "Daniel Russo," he says too quickly. "Counsel." My attention never leaves Valentina. She's vivid and attention-grabbing. I can't look away from her. Her aura swallows everything, making me feel like an insect being pulled into a spider's web. "So," I say carefully, "you are the party my client is accusing." She shrugs nonchalantly, like she couldn't care less. "I suppose." My gaze tails down to her tailored pants and the bulge at her hip, hidden by her suit jacket. It's a gun, I'm sure of it. The pieces slide into place with sickening clarity. The intimidation, the firearm held to Mark's eyes, the fear in Mark's eyes. I had imagined the Mafia boss would be a man. I was wrong. Perhaps that's why Mark sent me. He thought I could deal with a woman better than he could. "So," I say carefully, "you are the boss," clarity dawning on me. Her smile widens, slow and dangerous. "Yes, I already told you that. Is that a problem?" I force my spine straight. "It is unexpected." "Good. I enjoy being unexpected." She steps closer, close enough that I can see the faint scar near her collarbone, just visible above the line of her blouse. Her lawyer flinches when she moves. She notices. I notice that she notices. "My name is Valentina De Luca, and you must be Eleanor Hart." She says my name like she plans to remember it. I meet her gaze, heart pounding, fear and fascination tangling in my chest. I sit slowly, my pulse picks up, sharp and sudden. Panic claws at the edges of my composure, unwelcome and intrusive. This is not public. This is not safe. I expected a man. I expected a thick-necked man in a cheap suit he smells like cologne and entitlement, who would slouch in his chair and pretend the law was optional when it inconvenienced him. I expected bluster, threats wrapped in politeness, the usual theater that comes with clients who think money makes them untouchable. I did not expect her. She sits comfortably, like she owns all the air in the room. I notice things about her I shouldn't, things that make her human, and noticing them makes me unprofessional. Like the tendrils of black hair escaping her bun and caressing her slim neck. She wears no jewelry except a thin gold chain at her throat. Her mouth is painted a muted red that feels intentional, like a warning rather than decoration. Her eyes meet mine and hold, unblinking, assessing, already weighing what I am worth. I forget how to breathe half a second. This is not the Mafia boss who terrorized my client. This is not the image I built in my head during 3 sleepless nights of reading affidavits and incident reports. This woman looks like she stepped out of a private gallery opening, not a police report. She smiles slightly, as if she can hear my thoughts scrambling to catch up. "Miss Hart," she says, her voice low, smooth, unhurried, "you look disappointed." I clear my throat and stand, forcing my spine straight. I was expecting someone else. A man? It is not a question. Heat crawls up my neck. I don't make assumptions about gender. Her gaze flicks briefly to my face, then down to my shoes, my posture, the legal pad already open.
When she looks back up, she looks amused. "You absolutely do," she says. "Everyone does." The man beside her clears his throat loudly. He is older, gray at the temples, wearing a suit that tries too hard. He gives me a smile that feels like a challenge. "So let's start," Daniel Russo says, extending his hand. "I'm the counsel for Miss DeLuca." I shake his hand. "Eleanor Hart, counsel for Mr. Jacobs. I'm hoping we can reach a settlement today. My client is not asking for a lot of money. I hope you can agree to his demands." Valentina takes her seat at the head of the table without asking. It is a small, deliberate power move. Russo sits beside her, angled toward me like a shield. She does not look at him. She looks at me. "So," Valentina says, folding her hands, "you represent the man who claims I intimidated him." Her eyes are dark, unreadable, beautiful in a way that feels dangerous to notice. "I represent a man whose business was vandalized after he refused to sell his property, following repeated visits from your associates." "Associates," she repeats, tasting the word. Such a polite term. Russo leans forward. "Let's be clear. There is no evidence linking Miss DeLuca to any alleged vandalism. Your client is speculating." I turn my legal pad toward him. "Your client's driver was identified by 2 witnesses. The vehicle was registered to one of Miss DeLuca's holding companies. The timing aligns with a recorded refusal to sell. That is not speculation." Russo scoffs. "Circumstantial at best." "At best," I agree. "At worst, it establishes a pattern of coercion under Illinois law, which opens the door to civil liability and potential criminal referral if this escalates." Valentina tilts her head slightly, watching me like I am something interesting she has not decided whether to keep or break. Russo smirks. "You are assuming my client had motive." I am stating that motive exists. Your client sought to acquire the property. My client refused. Shortly after, his storefront windows were shattered, his inventory destroyed, and he received a visit implying future harm. That satisfies motive, opportunity, and implied threat. Russo opens his mouth. I do not let him speak. If you would like to argue that coincidence accounts for all 3, I am happy to draft a complaint and let a judge decide whether coincidence is a persuasive defense. Silence settles. Valentina's lips curve, slow and deliberate. Russo shifts in his seat. "You are being aggressive. I am stating the facts. I told you it'd be better for the both of us if we could settle with the original terms." He glances at Valentina. "Miss DeLuca?" It's clear he's waiting for her to decide. She's the boss, so if she agrees to settle, he'll too. I realize I've been persuading the wrong party all along. Valentina DeLuca doesn't understand legalese, but I'm sure she understands she's in a bad position. Her plump, red lips tighten a fraction. She does not look at her counsel. "Go on," she says to me. Something in her tone makes my pulse jump. "The resolution we are seeking is straightforward: restitution for damages and a written agreement that my client will not be contacted again regarding the sale." "You expect us to agree to that?" Russo laughs.
I expect you to understand that litigation would be inconvenient for everyone involved, including your client, whose name does not benefit from appearing in public filings. Valentina's eyes darken. Is that a threat, Miss Hart? No, I say calmly. It is a consequence. She studies me for a long moment. The air feels thick, charged. I am acutely aware of how close she is, how easily she could lean across the table, how absurdly intimate the standoff feels for a legal meeting. Russo mutters, "This is a waste of time." Valentina's hand moves. I register the motion before my mind catches up. Metal gleams. The sound of the gun leaving her jacket is soft, casual. She does not raise her voice when she points it at me. "Well done," she says. "I guess you have us cornered, legally." My breath stops. The barrel is steady. Her hand does not shake. Her expression is almost gentle. I do not scream. I do not move. My heart slams so hard I am certain she can hear it. Russo jumps to his feet. "Valentina, what the hell are you doing?" She does not look away from me. "Completing good work." I swallow. Slowly, deliberately, I meet her gaze. "If you intend to kill me, this is a very inefficient way to handle a minor civil dispute." Her mouth twitches. "Still thinking," she murmurs. "Impressive." Russo hisses, "Put the gun away." She finally glances at him. Her eyes go cold. "You are interrupting. Sit down." He hesitates. Her finger tightens ever so slightly on the trigger. He sits. She lowers the gun, slides it back into her jacket as smoothly as she drew it, then looks at me again. "My lawyer surprised you. He does not like that. I am not here to make him comfortable." "No, you are not." The silence stretches. Something unspoken hums between us. I should be terrified. I am, but beneath the fear is something else. Awareness, heat. She stands. I stand with her reflexively. "My lawyer expects me to settle," Valentina says, not looking at him. "That means he's useless." Russo bristles. "Valentina!" She ignores him. "Miss Hart," she says, stepping closer. Too close. Too close. "You should consider who you work for." "I already do." She smiles, slow and dangerous. "Good, because I would like to offer you a different client." My pulse stutters. "I'll pay twice, and I expect loyalty." I meet her eyes, my voice steady despite everything inside me screaming. "I do not work for people who solve disputes with firearms." Her smile widens. "Then you should not work for anyone in this city." She turns toward the door, then pauses. "Oh, I should add, tell your client his windows will not be broken again." I do not ask how she knows. She leaves. Russo scrambles after her. The door closes. I stand alone in my conference room, heart racing, hands trembling slightly at my sides. I do not know who Valentina DeLuca is, but I do know, with a certainty that unsettles me, that this is not the last time she will point something dangerous at my chest and ask me to choose.
Chapter 2. Ellie. I can't sleep that night. I lie on my back and stare at the ceiling fan as it rotates in a lazy, uneven circle, counting each wobble like it might knock the thoughts loose from my head if I track it long enough. It does not. Valentina DeLuca keeps intruding anyway. The way she stood too close, the calm confidence in her voice, the fact that she booked an entire restaurant just to hold a gun to my head without an audience. The way her eyes never left mine, as if she were memorizing something. I tell myself she is dangerous, that she is exactly the kind of woman I should avoid. That does not help. I roll onto my side and grab my laptop from the nightstand. The glow fills my dark apartment. I type her name into the search bar. Valentina DeLuca. There is not much. She is listed as the CEO of DeLuca Holdings, real estate, logistics, private investments. The language is clean, corporate, sanitized. There are a few professional photos.
She looks composed in all of them, impossibly self-possessed, like she knows the camera is beneath her. There is no scandal, no interviews, no personal history, nothing about her family. It is unsettling how little exists. I close the laptop and sigh, staring up at the ceiling again. She would make a terrible girlfriend, the kind who disappears without explanation, who treats affection like leverage, who ruins you and calls it chemistry. She would make a great lay. The thought lands uninvited and refuses to leave. I have not been intimate with anyone in a long time. Months blur into a year when work fills every gap. There's always another case, another injustice to fix, another reason to stay busy. Villains have always been my weakness. I huff softly, annoyed with myself. It does not matter. I am never going to see her again. Daydreaming about a dangerous woman I will never touch is harmless. Eventually, exhaustion drags me under. Morning smells like burnt coffee and rain-soaked pavement. The firm greets me the way it always does. Narrow hallway, framed newspaper clippings yellowed with age, a faint hum from the old radiator that never quite decides if it wants to work. Someone is already arguing quietly on the phone near the copier. This place feels like home. Mark is at his desk, clutching a paper cup of coffee like it is the only thing holding him upright. He looks at me over the rim. That look sets my nerves humming. "What?" I say, dropping my bag. He tilts his head towards my desk. "You should see that." I follow his gaze. An envelope sits neatly on the corner of my desk. Cream-colored, heavy paper, my name typed on the front. I frown. "What is it?" He watches me open it. Inside is the settlement agreement. My settlement agreement. Every term intact. Restitution, non-contact clause, signed and dated. Valentina DeLuca's signature curves across the bottom like she took her time with it. My chest tightens. "She signed it," I say. Mark grins. "You are the ace of this firm." I say, "She pointed a gun at me yesterday, and somehow I still got her to agree?" "That part is less comforting," he admits, "but impressive." I stare at the signature again. I'm surprised she signed it. She stormed out after I refused to work for her. Mark takes a slow sip of his coffee. "You did not sign it for free." I look up. "What do you mean?" He jerks his chin towards Ruth's office. My heart stutters. Valentina stands inside. The door is open. The light from the window frames her like a spotlight. She wears a red suit today, flashy, tailored, dangerous. The jacket cinches at my waist, emphasizing the curve of her hips. Her lipstick is the same deep red, her dark hair tumbling down in loose curls that brush her shoulders. She looks unreal. I am painfully aware of my own reflection in the glass. Sensible blouse, neutral makeup, hair pulled back because it always is. I have never wondered if someone always looks sexy before. Now I do. Every photo I saw last night pales in comparison to the woman standing 10 feet away. She turns her head. Our eyes meet. She smiles. The papers slip from my hands and scatter across the floor. "Shit," I mutter, crouching quickly. Heat floods my face. I can feel it. I gather the pages with clumsy fingers, willing my pulse to slow. Get it together. When I straighten, Ruth is standing in the doorway of her office, glasses perched on her nose. "Ellie," she says, "come in." Valentina gestures with 2 fingers, a small beckoning motion meant only for me. I hesitate, then step forward, heart pounding. Ruth closes the door behind us. "I understand you handled the DeLuca matter? Very well, from what I can see." "I did," I say carefully. Valentina leans against the wall, unbothered, watching me like she is enjoying a private joke. "She's interested in retaining the firm," she continues. "She has already paid a significant retainer." I look up at Ruth. Don't you know what kind of person she is? She's involved in shady stuff. Ruth frowns. She is a respectable businesswoman. I held a gun to my face yesterday. Valentina laughs. It's rich and unrestrained and entirely inappropriate. Ruth freezes. She did what? Valentina steps closer, heels clicking softly against the floor. In my defense, she was very impressive. I am not interested in victimizing more innocent people, I say sharply. Valentina stops in front of me, close enough that I can smell her, something warm and expensive, spiced and subtle. It curls into my lungs and settles there. She lifts her hand. Her fingers cup my face. I suck in a breath, shocked. Her skin is warm, soft. Her thumb rests just beneath my cheekbone, steadying my head like she expects me to stay. She tilts my chin up, bringing her lips close to mine. My heart is trying to escape my rib cage. I should move. I should step back. I do not. Being held by her feels unreal, like a moment lifted from some impossible fantasy. I am acutely aware of Ruth standing a few feet away, silent and stunned. "What do you mean?" I whisper. Valentina's eyes search mine, confident, certain. "You know exactly what I mean, and if I'm wrong, then you should take my offer." She pulls back just enough to meet my gaze fully. "I even brought a peace offering." She glances at the papers clutched in my hand. The air in the office crackles. I can feel it along my skin, every nerve awake, every instinct screaming. She should not be doing this. I huff, pulling myself together by sheer force of will. I straighten my spine, step back out of her reach, and meet her gaze with what dignity I can muster. "Fine, I will take your case." Her smile is slow, satisfied. I tell myself it's because I'm proving a point. I tell myself I am not attracted to her. The way her eyes darken says she knows better.
Chapter 3. Valentina. Courtesy is a language. Most people mistake it for kindness. They relax when they see it, lower their guard, mistake the shape of a smile for safety. I learned early that courtesy works best when it hides teeth. Ellie Hart thinks she agreed to take my case out of spite, to prove something to herself, to prove she cannot be shaken by a woman like me. I let her have that illusion because it costs me nothing and gives me everything. The truth is simpler and uglier. I wanted her closer, and she wanted an excuse not to run. I spend the rest of that day arranging what looks on paper like professionalism. My assistant schedules meetings at reasonable hours. I instruct Russo to send documents in clean batches, no threats, no theatrics. I send flowers to the firm, not roses, lilies, neutral, respectable, the kind of thing a corporate client would send to smooth the beginning of a working relationship. Ellie does not respond to them. That pleases me more than it should. I read her emails twice, not for content, for rhythm. She writes like someone who has learned that precision is a form of self-defense. No wasted words, no emotional leakage. Every sentence is a boundary dressed up as efficiency. I imagine her fingers on the keyboard, the tension in her shoulders, the way she probably presses her lips together when she concentrates. I wonder if she does that when she is angry. I wonder if she does that when she wants something. The next meeting is at my office, not hers. Neutral ground, officially. Controlled ground, in practice. The building belongs to me, the security does too. Ellie arrives exactly 3 minutes early. I notice because I'm watching the cameras. She wears a navy suit this time. Minimal makeup, hair pulled back, sensible shoes. The uniform of a woman who refuses to give the world anything it hasn't earned. When she steps into my office, she pauses, not long enough to be obvious, just long enough to register the view, floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawled beneath us, the quiet hum of power that never quite fades. I say, "You like it?" She looks at me sharply. I did not say that. You did not have to. Her jaw tightens. Good. She is still braced, still defensive, still awake. We sit across from each other at the long table. Russo is there, silent, chastened. He avoids my eyes. He avoids Ellie's too. He has learned his place. Ellie opens her folder. Let's be clear about scope. I am representing your business interests, not your personal conflicts. Of course, I reply smoothly. I would never blur lines. Her gaze flicks up, skeptical. She does not believe me. She shouldn't. We discussed zoning disputes, regulatory compliance, a lawsuit that should never have made it to court if the opposing counsel had been competent. Ellie dismantled the argument piece by piece, her mind sharp and unyielding. She does not raise her voice, she does not posture, she simply speaks, and the room bends around her certainty. I find myself watching her mouth more than I should. When she finishes, she looks at me. Questions. I lean back in my chair. Only one. How do you manage to be so angry without sounding emotional? Her eyes flash. I am not angry. You are, I say gently. You just channel it into something useful. She exhales through her nose. You do not know anything about me. I smile. I know you hate bullies. I know you sleep badly. I know you pretend you are immune to intimidation because you don't want to become the kind of person who looks away. Her fingers still on the table. I have crossed a line, not visibly, not loudly, but I feel it in the way the air tightens between us. You should not profile me, she says. I should not, I agree. And yet, she gathers her papers with unnecessary force. If you are done testing me, we can proceed. Testing her, that's a generous word. I am studying her, learning the edges of her resistance, where it holds, where it bends. After the meeting, I do not ask her to stay. I let her leave. Control is more effective when it feels optional. Over the next week, I make myself unavoidable in small, plausible ways. I schedule check-ins. I ask questions only she can answer. I show up to meetings 5 minutes early and leave exactly when they end. I never touch her again. Not yet. I learn her routines without trying, the cafe she goes to in the morning, the way she orders the same thing every time, black coffee, no sugar, the way she sits with her back to the wall, the way her gaze tracks exits automatically. She notices me noticing. She pretends not to care. One evening, she calls me after hours. Her voice is tight, controlled. There is an issue with the permit application. Come over, I say. There is a pause. It's late. I know. Another pause, longer this time. I will email you. You could, or you could come and watch me in my nightdress. I'll even give you a gift, my grandma's tiramisu. That alone will make your trip worthwhile. I hear her audible swallow. I bet she's imagining what I look like with my nightdress on, the satin hugging my curves, and the lace neckline cut low, molding to my breasts. Silence stretches between us. I imagine her standing in her apartment, phone pressed to her ear, weighing risk against instinct. She's going to fold. I have pressured enough people to know that. When I first met Ellie Hart, I was certain of two things, that she's into women and that she hasn't gotten laid in a while. Now I know two more. I'm exactly her type, and when she has been working for too many hours, her resolve becomes weaker and she says yes to things she's supposed to say no to. I will be there in 20 minutes, she says. When she arrives, she looks tired, hair looser, jacket slung over her arm instead of worn like armor. The city has softened her edges, or perhaps she has let them soften. I pour her a drink. She refuses it. Of course she does. We stand too close as we go over the documents. Our shoulders brush. Her breath stutters once, barely perceptible. I file it away. You enjoy this, she says suddenly.
Enjoy what? This, she gestures vaguely. The proximity, the pressure. I meet her gaze. I enjoy competence. That is not what this is. I step closer. Not touching. Not quite. Tell me what it is then. She swallows. Her pulse jumps in her throat. You are trying to see how far you can push me. Yes, I admit. Why?
The honest answer would ruin us both. Because you do not scare easily, I say instead, and people like me do not meet many who stand their ground. She laughs softly. You pointed a gun at me, and you did not flinch. Her silence is louder than any accusation. I know I should stop. I know this is a mistake. She is not from my world. She should not be dragged into it. I have destroyed better people for less. But control, once tasted, is addictive. And Ellie Hart is beginning to look at me like she knows exactly how dangerous I am and wants to understand why anyway. Because I'm lonely too. In a world full of misogynistic men, I long for the same thing as her, close contact with a woman. I open the drawer to my left. The sound of wood sliding against wood is soft, deliberate. I reach in and withdraw the gun, the same one I held to her face days ago. I place it on the table between us with careful precision. It's loaded, I say. Ellie's eyes drop to the weapon, then rise slowly to meet mine. Why? It is not fear in her voice, it is something sharper, clarification. She wants to understand the rules of whatever game we are playing. Because I want you to know that you can use it at any time to stop me before this goes any further. Before what goes any further? I move. Quick, controlled. My hand finds her wrist and I turn her, pressing her back against the wall. Her breath catches. The folder she was holding falls, papers scattering across the floor like broken promises. Her pulse jumps beneath my fingers. This, I murmur. And then I kiss her. Her lips are soft, softer than I imagined. For a heartbeat, she freezes, shock perhaps, or the last shred of resistance trying to assert itself. Then she melts. Her mouth opens under mine and I take full advantage, deepening the kiss with a hunger I have been restraining for weeks. She tastes like coffee and something sweeter underneath, something human, something I have been denying myself for too long. My tongue slides against hers, and the sound she makes, low, involuntary, almost wounded, goes straight through me. I press closer, one hand braced against the wall beside her head, the other still circling her wrist. She responds. God, she responds. Her free hand finds my shoulder, gripping like she needs the anchor, and she kisses me back with an intensity that betrays every professional boundary she has ever tried to maintain. This is what freedom tastes like. Not the power I wield daily, not the control I exert over men who fear me. This, her tongue against mine, her breath hitching, the way she arches slightly unconsciously, seeking more contact. I have spent years being untouchable, dangerous, alone in rooms full of people, and here, now, with this woman who should know better, I feel something crack open inside me, something I thought I had buried. She moans into my mouth, and I swallow the sound greedily, pressing her harder against the wall. My hand releases her wrist and finds her waist, fingers splaying across the fabric of her blouse. I can feel the heat of her skin beneath it, the rapid rise and fall of her breathing. When I finally pull back, we are both panting. Her lips are swollen, her eyes dark and unfocused. I slide my hand lower, slowly, deliberately, between her legs. Her eyes widen. Shock registers sharp and immediate. She shoves me back. Stop, she breathes. I step back, giving her space, but I do not look away. We have to go all the way. You are crazy, she says. Her voice shakes. I am, I agree, and I'm crazy enough to touch you properly if you let me. The tension in the air is so sharp, I can feel it filling my lungs like glass. My whole world tilts on this moment, on her answer. She stares at me, her chest heaving, her hands trembling slightly at her sides. Only this one time, she whispers. Relief crashes through me so powerfully, I almost sag. I close the distance between us again, slower this time. My hand finds her face, cupping her cheek with a gentleness that contradicts everything I am. Say it again. Once, she repeats, her voice firmer now, and then we never speak of it. I smile. Liar. Before she can protest, I kiss her again, softer this time, reassuring.
My hand slides down her body, tracing the curve of her waist, her hip, before slipping beneath the hem of her skirt. She gasps against my mouth. "Shh," I murmur. "I have you." My fingers find the edge of her undergarments. She's trembling, not from fear, from anticipation, from need she has been ignoring for too long. I slide my hand higher, and the sound she makes is raw, unguarded. "You are already so ready for me," I whisper against her ear. "How long have you been thinking about this?" "Don't," she breathes. "Don't what? Don't ask, or don't stop." She does not answer. She does not need to. Her body tells me everything. I press my fingers against her, and she arches, her head falling back against the wall. Her hands find my shoulders, gripping hard enough to bruise. "Look at me," I say softly. Her eyes flutter open, dazed, desperate. "I want to watch you fall apart." I move my hand with practiced precision, finding the rhythm that makes her breath hitch, that makes her hips cant forward involuntarily. She tries to stay quiet, biting her lip, but small sounds escape anyway. Whimpers, gasps, my name whispered like a confession. "You are beautiful like this," I murmur, unraveled, honest. She shakes her head, unable to form words, lost in sensation. I increase pressure slightly, adjusting my rhythm, and her whole body tenses. She is close. I can feel it in the way her breathing stutters, in the way her nails dig into my shoulders. "Let go," I whisper. "I have you." She breaks. Her climax crashes through her with an intensity that steals her breath. She clings to me, trembling, her face buried against my shoulder, as wave after wave of pleasure rolls through her. I hold her steady, my hand still between her legs, gentling her through the aftershocks. When she finally stills, she doesn't pull away. She stays pressed against me, breathing hard, her fingers still twisted in the fabric of my jacket. My chest tightens. I should feel victorious, satisfied. I have proven what I wanted to prove. She is not immune to me. She is caught now, tangled in the web I spun so carefully. But standing here with her weight against me, her breath warm on my neck, I realize something unsettling. I am caught too. I wrap my arms around her and hold her like I have never held anyone, like she is something precious instead of something I planned to ruin. And for the first time in years, I let myself wonder if wanting something makes me weak, or if maybe it just makes me human.
Chapter 4. Ellie. I wake up tangled in the aftermath of a mistake. Not the kind that leaves bruises or blood, the kind that settles deep in your bones and hums there, satisfied and smug, like it knows it has changed something fundamental, whether you consented to that change or not. My body feels loose, boneless, heavy in the best possible way. I cannot remember the last time I slept this deeply, this cleanly, without my mind racing through case law and unpaid invoices and the quiet dread of a life made entirely of responsibility. Whatever Valentina did to me last night, it cracked something open and then sealed it again, smoother than before. That is the problem. I sit up on my couch, blanket pooled at my waist, and stare at the wall where she had pinned me with nothing but presence and intent. I can still feel it. The way she crowded my space until there was nowhere left to retreat. The way my resolve dissolved not because she forced it, but because some reckless part of me stepped forward and said yes before the rest of me could object. Chaos personified. I let her under my skin far too easily. I gave her exactly what she wanted. Worse, I wanted it too. Later, when my legs were still unsteady and my thoughts still scattered, she had sat at the kitchen counter, spooning tiramisu into her mouth with lazy, infuriating grace. Mascarpone clung briefly to her lower lip before she licked it away, eyes never leaving mine, daring me to admit I was still hungry. I told her to stop, to never do that again. "Do what?" she asked lightly, as if she had not just unraveled me against my own wall. "Give you a good time? Come on, don't be so uptight. We both needed that. It's not a big deal." "It is a big deal to me," I snapped, pulling my cardigan tighter around myself like it could restore some dignity. I'm not the type who does casual flings." She laughed softly. "Explains why you've been starved for sex all this time." I bristled. "I like long-term relationships, stability." Her eyebrow lifted, slow and skeptical. "How did your last one go?" "Fine," I said too quickly. "We just weren't right for each other." She tilted her head, studying me like a puzzle she'd already solved. "Let me guess. You went for the safe type. Predictable. Kind. You dated, you settled into routines. Sex that was pleasant." Her mouth curved. "Then you got bored or restless. And when your partner wanted more, you told yourself there was no spark and walked away telling her it wasn't her fault, yada, yada." My stomach dropped. "That's not," I started. "Sparks don't come from safety," she interrupted calmly. "They come from a risk." I shook my head. "You're not a risk. You're a mistake." She leaned back in her chair, utterly unbothered. "I'm unfamiliar. That makes me an enigma. Expand your horizons, Miss Hart, or you'll die alone." I left after that, grabbed my coat, fled like a coward. My legs wobbled all the way down the hallway, traitorous and weak, and I hated that she noticed. I hated that she grinned like she had slipped a leash around my wrist and knew I would pretend not to feel it tightening. The next day is worse. The tension hits me the moment I step into the meeting room. It clings to the air, thick and electric, impossible to ignore. Valentina is already there, seated at the head of the table like yesterday never ended. She is wearing a low-cut blouse beneath a fitted jacket. Black, of course. Her collarbones are on display, elegant and sharp, and I know with a sinking certainty that she chose this outfit deliberately, not for business, for me. I refuse to look at her for more than necessary. The meeting proceeds as if we are professionals. We discuss timelines, documents, strategy. My voice is steady, my notes are immaculate. I'm almost proud of myself until my gaze betrays me, slipping where it should not. There, just beneath the line of fabric, a faint discoloration along her skin. A bruise. I look away immediately. She notices anyway. Her lips curve just slightly. Afterwards, when the others have filed out, I linger. I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe? Or something softer and more dangerous. "How did you get that?" I asked before I can stop myself. She turns, amused. "Is this a roundabout way of asking to see me naked? If so, you don't have to try so hard." I choke. "No, I was just concerned." Her expression shifts. Not unkind, just alert. "I have scars," she says, "as do everyone in this profession." "This one," I press quietly. "How did you get it?" She studies me for a long moment, weighing whether to deflect. Then she exhales. "I was 16, she says, and this time she does not look away. Her gaze fixes somewhere past my shoulder, like the memory is projected on the wall behind me. My father never said it outright. He did not need to. Every meeting I was excluded from, every decision double-checked when it came from me, every time a man spoke over me and he allowed it. Her mouth twists. I was always the daughter, never the heir. I swallow. "Because you were a woman." She lets out a humorless laugh. "Because I was a woman." Her fingers curl loosely at her side, knuckles whitening. "When I was 15, he started bringing men around the house, sons of allies, prospects. He called them dinners, interviews. I knew what they were." Her eyes flick to mine. I shake my head, even though I do. He wanted me engaged, to host dinners, and pretend not to hear the screaming in the basement, to marry and raise sons who will inherit everything I was denied. My chest tightens. "So you chose this instead?" She turns fully towards me now. "I chose not to belong to a man." I hesitate, then ask softly, "Why this profession? Why violence? You could have done something else." Her smile is sharp, scathing. "I could not. I'm a mobster's daughter, and the only alternative to this was marrying a mobster and letting him put children inside me until I disappeared. And since I'm a lesbian, that was the worse fate. The word lands heavy between us.
So, she goes on, voice low, deliberate. I decided to be my father's son instead of his daughter. I do not interrupt. I barely breathe. There was a rival crew operating on the south side back then, she says. Older men, brutal. They laughed when my name came up, called me a girl playing dress-up. Her jaw tightens. I heard about it. Ellie, stay calm, I tell myself. This is not a story. This is a confession. I told my father I could handle them, she says. He laughed, told me to go to my room. Her eyes darken. So I went anyway. My heart stutters. Alone? Yes. The word is absolute. I walked into their territory at midnight, she continues. No guards, no backup, just a knife strapped to my thigh and a gun I barely knew how to use. She exhales slowly. They caught me before I made it 3 blocks. I feel sick. Valentina. They dragged me into an alley, she says. Told me I was brave for a girl. Told me my father would pay nicely to get me back. Her hand lifts unconsciously to her side. One of them stabbed me to teach me a lesson. You were 16. Yes. Her voice does not waver. And I stabbed him back. I stare at her. I do not remember the pain, she admits. I remember the smell. Garbage, blood, oil from the street. I remember thinking I would rather die there than go home and be told I was right to stay invisible. She meets my eyes. I made it out, barely. I collapsed 2 streets from our house. I cannot stop myself. Did your father come? He did, she says. He was furious. Because you were hurt? No. Her smile is thin. Because I disobeyed him. Silence stretches. He did not hug me. He did not apologize. He told me I was reckless, that I embarrassed him. She pauses. Then he asked me how many men I saw, what weapons they carried, who led them. My breath catches. That was the first time he listened, the first time he saw value instead of liability. And after that, he gave me a chance, she says. Not approval, a chance. I took it. My chest aches. Without thinking, I step forward and wrap her arms around her. She stiffens, then allows it. You're too nice, she murmurs into my hair. I'm not, I reply. She pulls back slightly, her gaze serious now. I stopped being nice a long time ago, so be careful. I won't reciprocate your kindness with kindness. Her warning is quiet, earnest, and somehow that frightens me more than the gun ever did.
Chapter 5. Valentina. Pain sharpens the world. It strips everything down to essentials: breath, balance, blood. I have lived with it long enough to know the difference between the kind that kills and the kind that reminds you are still alive. Tonight's pain is the latter, a clean slice along my side, shallow enough to be insulting, deep enough to sting every time I move. I could have gone to a doctor, but the wound doesn't require stitches. Nor do I like spending nights at hospitals surrounded by unfamiliar people, completely exposed to threats. Anyone could walk in and kill me at a hospital's A&E department. The private doctor my father hires for the group is better, but his clinic is full of men, a lot of whom bear a grudge against me. I need someone safe, someone I'm certain will not harm me. That is why I am standing outside her door at an hour when the city has gone quiet, and even my own thoughts sound too loud. I knock once. She opens the door with sleep still clinging to her face, hair loose, eyes unfocused, an oversized sweater slipping off one shoulder. For a second, she looks confused, like she is trying to place me in the soft, private geography of her home. Then she sees the blood. Her eyes widen. Valentina. I lean against the doorframe, casual by force of habit. Hi. You're bleeding, she says, already moving, already reaching for me like instinct has overridden caution. It looks worse than it is, I reply. That is a lie. It hurts. It burns. But I want her concern more than I want honesty. She ushers me inside, hands light but urgent at my arm. Her apartment is warm, dim, the kind of space that smells faintly of clean laundry and coffee grounds and safety. Lamps instead of overhead lights, a throw blanket folded neatly on the couch. It feels obscene that I am allowed here. Sit, she orders, pointing to the edge of her bed. I do. She rummages through a drawer, emerging with a first aid kit that looks well used. She kneels in front of me, eyes flicking up to meet mine briefly before focusing on the dark smear soaking through my shirt. What happened? She asks. Work, I say. She presses her lips together, disapproving but not surprised. Take this off. I comply slowly, carefully, peeling the fabric away from my skin. The air kisses the wound, sharp and cold. I hiss despite myself. Ellie freezes. I'm sorry. It's fine, I murmur. I've had worse. She does not look convinced. Up close, I can see how tired she is. Faint shadows beneath her eyes, a crease between her brows that appears when she concentrates. She smells like sleep and something soft, something unguarded. She cleans her hands, then presses a clean cloth gently against my side. The touch makes my chest ache in a way pain never does. You're okay, she says quietly, as much for herself as for me. It's not deep. I watch her as she works, the careful way she dabs instead of wipes, the way her fingers tremble just slightly before steadying. Blood does not scare her enough to stop. That matters. You didn't need to come here, she says. I know. Then why did you? Because you're the only person who feels safe right now. I don't want to be somewhere my enemies will expect me to be, and I figured that you'd have a first aid kit. All of those are logical arguments, but not the truth. The truth hovers at the tip of my tongue, silent. Because I wanted you to see me bleed and not turn away. Because I wanted to know I could land somewhere soft when the world gets sharp. Because I wanted you to fuss over me and tell me I am okay and mean it. She cleans the cut thoroughly, applying antiseptic that makes my grit my teeth. Her free hand rests briefly against my hip, grounding me. The intimacy of it makes my chest ache in a way pain never does. You're lucky, she murmurs. Another inch and this would have been worse. I'm always lucky, I reply lightly. It's how I've survived 29 years. She snorts. You're reckless. Yes. And exhausting. Also yes. She finishes bandaging me, fingers lingering longer than necessary as she smooths the gauze into place. Her touch is gentle, careful, like she is afraid I might break. I have never broken, but I like that she thinks I could. You can lie down, she says after a moment. You shouldn't stay upright. I raise an eyebrow. Where? She gestures to the bed, already pulling back the covers. I'll take the couch. No, I say, more sharply than intended. I don't need. "You're injured," she cuts in. "Don't argue." I smile despite myself. We lie side by side, not touching, the space between us charged and fragile. The room is quiet, except for our breathing. My body relaxes despite the ache, tension draining in a way it never does when I'm alone. Ellie turns to her side, facing me. "If it starts bleeding again, wake me." "I will." She hesitates. "You're safe here." The words settle into me, heavy and dangerous. I know she is doing this because she is kind, because she cannot help herself, because she sees wounds and wants to mend them. That does not make it any less intoxicating. As sleep creeps in, I stare at the ceiling and allow myself this small indulgence, the warmth, the care, the knowledge that for one night, I am not alone with my pain. It is not love, but it is close enough to make me want more.
Chapter 6. Ellie. Morning arrives quietly. Sunlight spills through the half-open blinds in thin, golden ribbons, drifting across my bedroom like it belongs here. It settles on Valentina first, catching in the dark fan of her eyelashes, tracing the line of her cheek, warming the bronze of her skin until it glows. She looks different. Asleep, she is stripped of sharpness, no armor, no calculated stillness. Her mouth is relaxed, parted slightly, her breathing slow and even. The scar near her collarbone is barely visible beneath the sheet, softened by light. Her hair is a dark mess against my pillow, curls loosened and wild, like she has never bothered to tame them. She looks innocent. The thought startles me. I sit on the edge of the bed, drawn in despite myself. There is something disarming about seeing someone so dangerous reduced to this. All allure, no edges. Even in sleep, she is beautiful in a way that feels unfair. My chest tightens with something unfamiliar, tender, unwelcome. Before I can stop myself, I reach out and brush my thumb along her cheek. Warm, smooth. Her eyes snap open instantly. She grabs my wrist to grip iron strong, even half asleep, breath hitching as she jerks upright. For a split second, there is nothing in her expression but instinct. Survival. "Hey," I say quickly, "relax, it's me." She blinks once, twice. Recognition dawns. Her grip loosens. Her shoulders sink back into the mattress. "Jesus," she mutters, voice rough with sleep. "You scare like a professional." "Sorry," I say softly. "Didn't mean to wake you." She exhales and releases my hand completely, letting it fall back to my lap. Her eyes drag over my face, unfocused, heavy-lidded. "Good morning," she murmurs. The sound of it does something to me. For just a second, she looks completely defenseless. Hair in her eyes, mouth slack with sleep, no walls, no threat. Just a woman in my bed, waking up next to me like it is the most natural thing in the world. My heart skips. She looks like a girlfriend. My girlfriend. The thought hits me so hard I have to swallow it down. "How are you feeling?" I ask, forcing my voice to stay steady. She shifts slightly, testing the bandage at her side. "Fine. It was just a scratch." "You should see the other guy." I roll my eyes. "You're impossible." "Yet here I am," she says, stretching languidly, utterly unbothered by the fact that she is wearing my sheets like a second skin. Alive, in your bed. I hate that she's right. I also hate how much relief I feel seeing her this way, breathing, intact. I don't know why I let her stay. I only know that when I saw the blood last night, bright and real against her skin, something inside me snapped into clarity. I don't want her hurt.
The realization scares me more than the gun ever did. I'm going to get coffee and breakfast, I say, standing abruptly. From the deli downstairs. She hums thoughtfully. You should get lunch, too. I pause. Why? Because I'm staying here all day, she says casually. I don't feel like facing business. I turn to stare at her. You're not serious. I am. She props herself up on one elbow. You can go to work. I'll behave. I don't trust you alone in my apartment. She laughs, a low, lazy sound. Relax, I won't steal anything. You say that like it's reassuring. My suit costs more than your monthly rent, she adds mildly. There's probably nothing here worth taking. I blink. How much does your suit cost? She doesn't hesitate. $15,000. Oh my God, you're loaded. She grins, unabashed. It's always a good idea to have a rich friend with benefits, if you want to extend our arrangement. I grab my bag and head for the door before I can see my face heat up. I'm getting breakfast. Her laughter follows me down the hall. As I skip down the stairs, keys warm in my hand, a strange lightness settles in my chest. Against all logic, against every warning my brain is screaming, I find myself imagining her there when I get back, on my couch, in my kitchen, filling my space like she belongs. A girlfriend. I shake my head, smiling despite myself. When I get back upstairs, the apartment sounds different. Valentina's voice carries from the living room, low and controlled, stripped of the softness she wore with me earlier. I pause just inside the door, the paper bag warm in my hands, listening without meaning to. Move the shipment to the west side, she says. No, not tonight, tomorrow morning, and double-check the route. I don't want surprises. A pause. Yes, I know, that's why I'm saying it now. She ends the call the moment she sees me, phone slipping into her hand like it was never there. Good morning again, she says lightly. I lift the bag. I said you didn't want to handle business today. She shrugs, unapologetic. Guilty of being a workaholic. That didn't sound optional. It isn't, she replies, too easily. Things change fast in my line of work. If I'm not on top of them, something catches fire or someone gets hurt. I set the bag down and walk over to her before she can deflect. My hands settle on her shoulders, warm through the fabric of her shirt. Relax, I say, gently but firmly. You're allowed to exist without managing disasters for a few hours. She exhales, slow and reluctant. I won't do much, just phone calls. I give her a look. She smirks. Only important ones. I let it go, for now, and turn toward the kitchen. The smell of fresh bread and herbs fills the space as I unpack the bag. A flaky spinach pastry, a container of cut fruit, yogurt with honey, a small paper box holding tiramisu because I know her weakness now. I set down 2 cups, 1 coffee, 1 green smoothie. I push the smoothie toward her. This is for you. She stares at it like it personally offended her. What is that? She asks. Breakfast. That is lawn clippings, she says flatly. I'm Italian. We drink espresso in the morning. You can be less Italian for one day, just until your wound heals. She narrows her eyes, then lifts the cup and takes a cautious sip. Her face twists immediately. I laugh before I can stop myself. She scrunches up her nose, looking very adorable. The menacing aura around her disappears, replaced by something warm and human. You look like a child being force-fed spinach, I remark, sipping on my own coffee. You are force-feeding me. I wanted coffee, not this abomination. It doesn't even have sugar. How am I supposed to drink this? I frown. I swear you only throw tantrums when you're with me. I know you're my client, but we're in my house now. She swallows with effort. I like throwing tantrums, but I can't do that in my daily life. That would be a sign of incompetence, or worse, weakness. The words land softly, intimately. She sets the cup down and leans back in her chair. You feel safe, she adds, quieter now. I don't have to wear a mask all the time when I'm with you. I know you won't use my vulnerabilities or secrets against me. You have a lot of faith in me. That's because I have a lot of dirt on you. Valentina's mouth slips into an easy grin. I could always threaten you into silence if it came to that. But based on what I know, you're an honest person. You have never tried to profit from other people. Something warm settles in my chest. Tell me about other cases you're working on, she asks, changing the subject with practiced ease. Besides mine. I sit across from her. A divorce case. Married 22 years, 2 kids. The husband drained their joint accounts and is trying to leave her with nothing. Valentina's expression darkens. If he gives you too much trouble, I could always threaten him. My gun has been needing time in the sun lately. I gasp. That's illegal. But effective, she counters calmly. Absolutely not. She grins. You lawyers are adorable. You solve disputes using the most long-winded, time-consuming route when there's an easier option. There's a reason the easier option isn't used. It infringes on human rights. Whatever you say, Your Honor. I put the food I brought in front of her. If you're done with the smoothie, you can eat this. She reaches for her fork, then pauses, pressing one hand to her side with exaggerated pain. Actually, I'm injured, she says. Give me puppy eyes. And that takes my breath away. Feed me, she says. I can't use my hands. I sigh. You're unbelievable. Feed me. You can move your arm. I shouldn't, she says solemnly. Doctor's orders. You did not see a doctor. Implied orders. I know it's a ploy. I know she just wants attention, to be fussed over, babied. I do it anyway. I spear a piece of fruit and hold it up to her mouth. She leans in, lips brushing the fork deliberately. She chews, contemplative. You seem disinterested. I'm literally feeding you. With no enthusiasm, she says. Where's the eye contact, the passion? I roll my eyes and offer her another bite. Eat. She frowns. Too fast. I slow exaggeratedly. Now you're patronizing me. Valentina. She smiles victorious and takes the bite. Better. As ridiculous as this is, as dangerous as this all feels, I realize something as she keeps finding fault just to keep me engaged. I like this. I like her here, in my kitchen, in my space, needy and teasing and human. And that realization scares me almost as much as it thrills me.
Chapter 7. Valentina. I am excellent with knives. That is the problem. The blade feels wrong in my hand when it is not meant to threaten or cut flesh or carve fear into someone's memory. A kitchen knife has a different balance. Lighter, blunter, civilized. It resists me like it knows I am lying about my intentions. I stare at the cutting board like it has personally insulted me. Ellie is in the other room, answering emails, giving me space in the careful way she does when she does not want to admit she is watching. I can feel her presence anyway. It presses at my back, steady and grounding, and it makes me restless. I said I would stay all day. Staying implies contribution, so I decide to cook. 5 minutes later, I'm covered in flour, the onions are unevenly hacked, and I have nearly stabbed myself twice. I exhale sharply and grab my phone. There is only one person on this planet I trust with food and judgment in equal measure. Nonna, I say when she picks up. Her delighted gasp crackles through the speaker. Valentina, tesoro, are you dying? No. Then why are you calling me? I'm cooking. Silence. Then laughter, loud, triumphant. Madonna Santa, who died? Nonna, are you injured? Yes. Emotionally or physically? physically. She hums. Ah, and you're cooking. I'm repaying a favor. Another hum, longer this time, suspicious. You have a girlfriend. I do not. You do. I don't. You do. You wouldn't be holding a knife for vegetables unless you were in love or possessed, she says briskly. Which is it? I glance at the countertop, at the chaos. Neither. She laughs again. You're lying badly. I am not domestic, I say defensively. This is temporary. She replies. What are you making? I don't know yet. That's where you come in. I was hoping you'd decide for me. She clicks her tongue. You never listen. Okay, listen now. We'll make something impossible to ruin. Mostly. Mostly? Pasta, she says. A proper one, not the sad kind you eat alone. I roll my eyes, but I set the phone down where she can see the disaster zone. Talk me through it. She does, patiently, slowly, like she has been waiting for this moment my entire life. No, Valentina, you don't crush the garlic like it owes you money. It does. Gently, she insists. You're not interrogating it. I try again. The garlic explodes. She sighs. This is why I prayed you'd marry rich. I am rich. Then order takeout. I can't. Why? Because, I say, choosing my words carefully, this matters. She goes quiet for a beat. Then, softer, ah. She helps me adjust, tells me to lower the heat, to taste, to stop salting like I am preparing for the apocalypse. She laughs when I mistake oregano for basil and gently corrects me when I nearly burn the sauce. Stir, she says. Not like that. You're angry at it. I'm concentrating. You're terrifying it. Somehow, miraculously, it comes together. The sauce thickens. The smell fills the kitchen. Warm, rich, familiar in a way that makes something tight in my chest loosen. When I hang up, Nana's voice is fond and knowing. I hope your girlfriend appreciates the effort. She's not my... And clean the kitchen, she adds sharply. There's no point in cooking a beautiful meal if you make her clean up after you. That's how you lose women. The line goes dead. I stare at the phone for a moment, then at the stove, then at the sink. I clean. When Ellie steps into the kitchen later, her surprise is worth every burnt fingertip and insult to my pride. I am not domestic, but for her, I can pretend. The pasta looks good. That shouldn't surprise me, but it does. The sauce clings to the noodles the way it's supposed to. Glossy and rich, steam curling upward as I set the plates down. Ellie's plates, I realize. White porcelain with a delicate gold rim, too elegant for weeknight dinners, tucked away in a cabinet like she's been saving them for something that hasn't happened yet. Something like this. We sit across from each other at her small kitchen table, knees almost touching. Candlelight would have made it dramatic, but the soft overhead glow feels more honest, cozy. That word lodges itself in my chest, unfamiliar and stubborn. I've never had this. I thought this would be a game. I thought Ellie was just another beautiful complication, a sharp mind wrapped in moral outrage, perfect for friction and release. Enemies make the best lovers. Tension fuels desire. I knew how to play that role. But she's laughing softly now, twirling pasta around her fork, eyes warm and unguarded, and I realize I've miscalculated. Ellie isn't just attractive, she's good. Just, compassionate, the kind of woman who believes rules exist for a reason and that people deserve protection, not fear. Someone like that should never brush against someone like me for too long. Because someday she will see me clearly, and she will leave. The thought comes uninvited, heavy and certain. I set my fork down. Ellie looks up. You okay? I consider lying. Then I remember where I am. Her table, her plates, her quiet. I was imagining how you'd break my heart, I say. She freezes, fork halfway to her mouth. What? I meet her gaze. I was thinking about asking to see more, properly, about whether this is more than what it started as. I gesture vaguely between us. And then I remembered what I do. Her brow furrows. Valentina, you would dump me, I continue, voice steady because it has to be. The moment you really understood my work, and I can't afford that, not from you. She studies me, then snorts. You have a heart? That's news to me. I smile faintly. I'm very sensitive. She huffs a laugh. I can tell. That's why you hide it under humor and violent threats. I don't deny it. She twirls her fork again. Who were you talking to earlier, on the phone? My Nona, I say. Her eyes light up. She helped you make this? Yes. Tell her thank you. It's amazing. Warmth spreads through me, slow and dangerous. If you were my girlfriend, I say lightly, I'd introduce you to her one day. Not your parents? My father still thinks I'll marry a man from a rival gang for an alliance. He's convinced my being a lesbian is a phase. Her smile fades. I'm sorry. You deserve to be accepted for who you are. I don't want acceptance. I don't need it. I pause. I need to be feared. The words taste bitter tonight. Staying here has been like a vacation. No guards, no strategy, no blood. Tomorrow I'll go home, and the silence there will feel sharper than usual. You could visit when you're lonely, Ellie says gently, and I realize she's opening up access for me. I don't have a lot of visitors. I lean back, smirk returning out of habit. Sure, I will. At night, I'll give you the best sex of your life. It'd take the edge of a boring workday. She blushes. You don't have to make everything sexual. We were having a nice time. 2 women bonding over dinner. I shrug. Since we've already established you'll break my heart, we should stick to being friends with benefits. She sighs, long and conflicted. She doesn't argue. And in that silence, I understand exactly what she's not saying.
Chapter 8. Ellie. My apartment feels wrong without her. Too quiet, too neat, like a place that was never meant to hold more than one heartbeat at a time. I lock the door behind me and stand there for a moment, keys still in my hand, listening to the hollow echo of my own breathing. I have always lived alone. That's the ridiculous part. Still, the emptiness presses in on me as I walk back out into the evening, laptop bag slung over my shoulder, coat pulled tight against the chill. I find myself thinking, absurdly, that maybe I should get a pet, a cat, something warm and alive that doesn't disappear without warning. Or maybe I should just go to Valentina's apartment and take her up on her offer. The thought slides in smoothly, seductive in its logic. Valentina understands boundaries. She wouldn't cling. She wouldn't expect things I'm not ready to give. Being with her would be contained, safe in its own twisted way. I'm turning down a narrow road, cutting through a quieter stretch of the neighborhood, when I hear footsteps behind me. Too close, too deliberate. My shoulders tense. I slow slightly. The footsteps slow too. My pulse spikes. Hey, says a voice. A hand reaches for me. I scream. I spin around, heart slamming, and find myself face to chest with a man who looks like he could snap me in half without breaking a sweat. Broad, tall, the kind of presence that fills space aggressively. You're the lawyer, Hart. I don't answer. You should give up the case against Victor Marino. He doesn't like stubborn women. My stomach drops. Marino, my client's soon-to-be ex-husband, the one bleeding her dry.
I don't know what you're talking about, I say. He reaches for my bag. You will? Don't touch that, I shout, wrenching it back. Get away from me. He lunges. Then he makes a sound, a sharp, strangled noise, like air being forced out of him. The pressure on me vanishes. Behind him, Valentina stands impossibly close, her knife at his throat, the blade just enough to bruise skin without cutting. Her expression is calm, focused, lethal. Let him go, she says softly. The man freezes. She shifts, smooth as water, and suddenly the knife is gone and her gun is out, pressed against his ribs. Walk away, she tells him. Now. He swings at her instead. It's a mistake. Valentina ducks easily, using his size against him, twisting his arm until I hear something pop. He grunts, stumbling, but she's already moved, sweeping his legs out from under him. He hits the ground hard. She plants a boot on his chest, gun trained on his face. Tell Marino that the next time he sends someone after my lawyer, I won't be this polite. She steps back. The man scrambles up and runs. I'm shaking. Valentina turns to me immediately, all the sharpness draining from her face. Are you okay? Yes, I think so. She takes my hand without asking, grounding me, and leads me to her car parked nearby. The door opens, warm air rushing out. Home? She asks once I'm inside. Or somewhere else? I swallow. I want to stay with you. I don't think I'm brave enough to be on my own right now. She nods, no judgment, just understanding. Have you been stalking me? I ask quietly. How did you know I was in trouble? She starts the engine. I have someone on you. I look at her. They saw him tailing you. They called me. Thank you, I say, meaning more than the words can hold. You saved my life. She snorts lightly. If you died, my life would be so boring. Who would I torment? At the next red light, I turn toward her, impulse overtaking fear, and wrap my arms around her. She stiffens, then relaxes as I kiss her, quick and sincere. I'm glad you came, I whisper. The light turns green. Valentina doesn't move. For once, she has nothing to say.
The door to Valentina's apartment barely clicks shut before I'm on her, my hands fist in her coat, yanking her toward me with a force that surprises us both. I crush my mouth against hers, swallowing her startled gasp, pushing her back until she hits the wall with a soft thud. Ellie, she starts, but I kiss the words away. My tongue slides against hers and she opens for me immediately, meeting my urgency with her own. Her hands find my waist, steadying me, grounding me. But I don't want steady right now. I want her. I need her. My fingers work at the buttons of her coat, clumsy with adrenaline and want. The fabric slides off her shoulders, and I'm already reaching for her shirt, pulling it free from her waistband. She breaks the kiss long enough to laugh breathlessly. Someone's eager. Shut up, I mutter, tugging at her collar. You're very horny, she observes, delighted. I almost died tonight. And your first thought was to jump me? Her grin is wicked. I'm flattered. Valentina. I kiss her again, harder this time, silencing her teasing. My hands find warm skin beneath her shirt and she shivers. Okay, she murmurs against my mouth. Okay. Her fingers find the zipper at the back of my dress, sliding it down with practiced ease. The fabric loosens, pools at my feet, leaving me exposed in the dim light of her entryway. She pulls back just enough to look at me, eyes dark and hungry. Beautiful, she whispers. Heat floods my face, but I don't have time to be embarrassed because she's kissing me again, backing me up this time, hands roaming over skin she's mapping like territory. We shed clothes as we move. Her shirt, my bra, her belt, my stockings. A trail of fabric leading toward the bedroom will never follow back. By the time we reach her bed, we're both breathless and half undressed. Then she bends slightly, hooks an arm behind my knees, and lifts. I gasp, arms flying around her neck. What are you?
She says simply, like it's the most natural thing in the world. No one has ever carried me before. Not like this. Not with such ease, such confidence, like I weigh nothing at all. Her strength should frighten me. Instead, it does something else entirely. It makes me burn. You're very strong, I manage. I know. That's very attractive. She grins. I know that too. She lays me down on her bed with surprising gentleness, the mattress soft and expensive beneath me. Her bedroom is understated luxury, dark wood, cream linens, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. Everything tasteful, everything controlled, except us. She braces herself above me, dark hair falling forward, eyes searching mine. Are you sure? She asks quietly. I nod. Yes. We shouldn't, she says, but her hands are already tracing patterns along my ribs, mapping the curve of my waist. This is forbidden. I know. You're too good for me. I know that too. She laughs softly, painfully. Then why? Because it feels right, I whisper. Because when I'm with you, I feel like everything I've been waiting for finally makes sense. Something flickers across her face. Vulnerability. Wonder. She kisses me, slow this time, deep, like she's savoring every second, every breath, every taste. Her hands move with purpose now, sliding over skin, learning what makes me gasp, what makes me arch into her touch. She traces the line of my collarbone, the curve of my shoulder, the sensitive skin just below my ear. Tell me what you want, she murmurs against my throat. You! Just you! She pulls back slightly, eyes locked on mine as her fingers trail lower, achingly slow, giving me time to change my mind. I don't. When she touches me, I forget how to breathe. She moves like she knows exactly what I need, reading my body with the same precision she applies to everything else. Every touch is deliberate, worshipful, like I'm something precious she's afraid to break. You're perfect, she whispers, watching my face. Do you know that? I can't answer, can't think, can only feel. My hands find her shoulders, her back, pulling her closer. She shifts, pressing her weight against me, skin against skin, heat against heat. We move together, finding rhythm without words, without thought, just sensation, just us. The city lights blur beyond the windows. Time loses meaning. There's only her hands, her mouth, her whispered praise as she takes me apart piece by piece and puts me back together again. When I finally shatter, it's with her name on my lips and her arms around me. She holds me through the aftershocks, gentle and patient, pressing soft kisses to my temple, my cheek, my shoulder. Stay, please stay. I curl into her warmth, exhausted and sated and impossibly content. I'm not going anywhere, I promise. And wrapped in her arms, surrounded by her scent, her softness, her strength, I mean it. This is forbidden. This is dangerous. This is everything I've ever wanted.
Chapter 9. Valentina. I wake up reaching for warmth and find empty sheets instead. For half a second, instinct snaps awake before reason catches up. The room is quiet, sun bleeding in through sheer curtains, my apartment unfamiliar in daylight when it should feel controlled. Ellie's side of the bed is cold. Ellie, I call, already sitting up. No answer. I follow the sound of running water down the hall and find her in the bathroom, naked and scowling at the shower like it personally offended her. Steam fogs the mirror. One hand is on her hip, the other fiddling uselessly with the panel of knobs that look far more complicated than they should. This thing is more advanced than operating a spaceship, she mutters. I lean against the doorframe, watching her, the curve of her back, the stubborn line of her shoulders. Desire stirs, softer this time, threaded with something gentler. You're turning it the wrong way, I say. She jumps, then relaxes when she sees me. Why does it have 6 settings? Who needs this many options to get wet? Some people like control, I reply, stepping closer. I press a kiss to her shoulder, then her neck. We could simplify things. She tilts her head back slightly. How? We showered together. She considers this, then nods. Fine, but if I drown, that's on you. I adjust the settings in one smooth motion and step in with her. The water hits us warm and steady. She exhales, tension melting as I guide her under the spray. We wash each other without urgency. Soap slick against skin, hands learning familiar shapes in a quieter way. When we step out, towels wrapped loosely around us, the world feels slower. We dress together in my bedroom. Ellie pulls on one of my shirts, oversized on her, then eyes my closet with interest. You know, she says, reaching for a tailored jacket, I always find your power suits and sexy office dresses very eye-catching. I raise an eyebrow. They look better on me. She slips into the jacket anyway. It hangs differently on her, snug at the hips, too long in the sleeves. Not worse, just different. I'm shorter and curvier, she says, assessing herself in the mirror. They don't look as good on me. I step behind her and smooth the lapels. They look good because you're wearing them. She blushes and turns away before I can enjoy it too much. I'll make breakfast, I say as we head into the living room. She shoots me a look. Have you ever done that before? No, but how hard can it be? I think it's better to buy it somewhere. Ellie's sentence is cut short by the creak of the door opening. My apartment door swings open. My heart slams against my chest. I wonder if it's one of the men or my father. Only they to barge in unannounced, and if they see me with Ellie, they'll judge me. Being a queer person is not exactly easy when you're in the Mafia. Like a lot of traditional professions, it's very patriarchal. Valentina, a familiar voice says brightly, a female voice. Relief makes my ribcage collapse. My grandmother steps inside like she owns the place. Floral dress impeccable, hair swept into a neat bun, eyes sharp and warm all at once. She takes in the scene in a single glance. Me in sleep-rumpled clothes, Ellie in my jacket. She beams. Oh, she says, I'm so happy to finally meet your girlfriend. Nana, I groan, she's not my girlfriend. She ignores me completely and turns to Ellie. Why not? Ellie blinks. She's a great girl, Nana continues. She cut her fingers trying to make you dinner. You won't find a better girlfriend elsewhere. I roll my eyes. I'm in the Mafia. You left out that part. Nana waves a hand. Dangerous women are the sexiest women, and who doesn't have flaws these days? Relationships are not about perfection. Nah. I glance at Ellie. You should go, or she'll force you to date me. Ellie doesn't move. Instead, she smiles and stays where she is while my grandmother bustles into the kitchen, already pulling out pans. I'll cook, Nana declares, and I'll make espresso. Strong. I catch Ellie's eye as the smell of coffee begins to fill the apartment. You both stay, Nana says. I'll feed you well. Thank you, Ellie replies. She takes my hand. The touch feels strange. We've touched in more intimate places, but having her hold my hand in front of my family is a different level of special. She threads her fingers between mine, tugging my hand and pulling me along to the couch, where we collapse on top of each other. Her curls sweep over my collarbone. And this feels more sensual than sex, more intense than an orgasm. Ellie, what are you doing? I ask, cupping her face. Do you want to make out on the couch while Nama is 3 feet away? I can hear you, Nana shouts back, and I don't mind. Ellie laughs. She's open-minded. I blink. She's desperate to see me in a relationship. She's just bribing you with food so you'll change your mind about me. Ellie hesitates, swallowing. Valentina, after last night, she takes a big breath, her breasts pushing against my chest as her lungs expand. I've been thinking that what's between us doesn't feel purely physical. I like you. I like being around you. You get me, and you protect me in a way I've never been protected. I like your strength, your sharpness, and even the danger you radiate. I don't agree with your work or your methods, but I like the person you are underneath. Ellie, are you? Ellie shushes me by pressing a finger against my lips. I want to date you, she says quietly. I know it won't be easy, and maybe you're right. I'll break your heart, or find that I can't stomach the things you do and leave, but I still want to try. I haven't felt this way about anyone ever. I'm attracted to you mentally as well as physically. I love how easy it is to talk to you, how our banter makes me feel alive. You're serious? I press my cold fingertips against her warm cheek. She's pink. You really want a mobster girlfriend? Yes. Ellie kisses me softly on the lips. It's a terrible idea, but I do. I know I'll have to learn a lot to survive in your world, and our relationship won't be conventional, but I want to believe that who you are trumps what you do. You'll keep working as a lawyer, I ask. She nods. I want to earn money. That way, if you want to leave the Mafia, I can take care of you. I don't want to leave. I like the money, the lifestyle, and the strength it takes to survive here. I like fighting. I like everything about the job. I don't plan to quit. Ellie's pupils dilate. If that's what you want, that's okay. So, where should we go on our first date then? You decide. And then there isn't any more time to talk because Nana is done with breakfast and she drags us to the dining table. I smile, even though nobody's looking.
Chapter 10. Ellie. Our first date starts with Valentina stealing my phone. "Hey," I protest as she plucks it from my hand while we're waiting for the elevator in her building. "I was checking directions." She slips it into her jacket pocket, completely unapologetic. "You're with me. You don't need directions." "That's not how cities work." She smirks. "It is when I'm involved." I should be annoyed. Instead, I feel oddly light, like the rules have bent just enough to let something fun slip through. I follow her out onto the street, the afternoon sun warm on my face, Chicago alive and humming around us. She walks with that same effortless confidence, like the sidewalk was poured just for her stride. "Where are we going?" I ask. "Surprise," she says. "That's ominous." "Relax," she replies. "If I planned to kidnap you, I wouldn't call it a date." I laugh despite myself. We end up at a vintage arcade tucked between a bookstore and a cafe, neon sign flickering like it's in on the joke. Inside, it smells like popcorn and dust and nostalgia. Lights blink everywhere. Old machines hum and chirp. Valentina's eyes light up. "You like this," I realize. She shrugs. "I used to sneak out to places like this when I was younger. Before everything. I feed tokens into a pinball machine and immediately lose." She watches, amused. "You're terrible." "I'm having fun." "Same thing," she says, nudging me aside. She plays with focused intensity, tongue caught between her teeth, completely serious about something utterly unimportant. She wins by a mile. I clap sarcastically. "Wow, very impressive, truly terrifying skill set." "Careful," she says. "I'm unbeatable at air hockey, too." She is, infuriatingly so. We argue over rules, trash talk loudly. At one point, she pretends to distract me by leaning in too close, her voice low, her smile wicked, and I miss the puck entirely. That was cheating. That was strategy. Afterward, we grab hot dogs from a stand down the street and eat them sitting on the hood of her car, legs brushing. She tells me stories that don't involve violence. About her nana teaching her to dance in the kitchen, about skipping school to go see bad movies, about how she hates mornings. I tell her about my first case, about how I cried in the bathroom when I won, because it felt like proof that I belonged where I was. She listens and responds quietly with grace. At some point, I realize this is the most fun I've ever had on a date. No small talk, no pretending, no polite boredom disguised as compatibility. This is the girlfriend I always imagined. Sharp, protective, funny in a dangerous way. Except she has a gun at her hip. And I don't hate it. The danger doesn't repel me. It sharpens everything, makes every laugh brighter, every touch more electric. It's imperfect, messy, real. As the sun dips low and the city lights flicker on, she reaches for my hand again, casual and sure. I squeeze back. This kind of love isn't safe, but it's alive.
Epilogue. Valentina. A year later. A year changes the shape of things. It doesn't erase sharp edges. It teaches you where they are, so you stop cutting yourself on them. I'm in the kitchen when Ellie comes home, jacket slung over one shoulder, hair escaping its clip in the way it always does after a long day. She looks tired but satisfied, the kind of exhaustion that comes from fighting the right battles. The door closes behind her with a soft click, and something in my chest settles instinctively, like it always does when she's back where she belongs. "You're late," I say. She drops her bag and toes off her shoes. "You love it when I'm late. Gives you time to pretend you're not waiting." I smirk. "How's court?" She groans and collapses onto the couch. The judge was reasonable. The opposing counsel was not. At one point, he actually tried to argue that emotional labor isn't real. I snort. Should I send him a threat or show up at his place and point a pistol at him? "Please don't threaten my cases anymore," she says, then brightens, though the look on his face would have been priceless. I sit beside her and listen while she talks, nodding at the right moments, interjecting just enough to make her laugh. When she finally runs out of words, I pull her into my arms. She melts immediately. "Your hugs feel like heaven," she murmurs into my shoulder. I kiss her hair. "Guess what else feels like heaven? Nana's tiramisu." Her head lifts. "She came by again?" "She did. She interrogated me about whether I'm feeding you properly." "Are you?" There's a naughty twinkle in Ellie's eyes. I like how she has opened up more in the year since we started dating. She isn't so uptight anymore. Sometimes she lets her fun side out. I stand and open the fridge, retrieving the familiar container. "Sit." She does, on my lap, without hesitation, like this is the most natural thing in the world. I feed her slowly, one spoonful at a time, our bodies fitting together easily, her weight warm and real against me. She hums contentedly, fingers hooking into my shirt. "You're the best girlfriend," she says, mouth full. I wipe a smear of cream from her lip with my thumb, lingering just long enough to make her eyes soften. "I love you." The words still feel powerful, still chosen, still earned. She leans in and kisses me, slow and sure, like she knows exactly who I am and wants me anyway. The kiss deepens, unhurried, full of warmth and familiarity, and something that still feels like wonder. "I love you too," she says when we part. "Every day I can't believe how happy I am. You're my dream girlfriend. You make me feel safe and nervous at the same time. It's perfect." I laugh and stand, lifting her effortlessly. Then it's time to relieve all that tension. She squeals, laughing as I carry her toward the bedroom, arms tight around my neck. For the first time in my life, I am not empty. My humanity has found a place to belong, and it'll always stay here, held by the most beautiful woman alive.
Thank you for listening to this story. Hope you enjoyed it. You can check out other books by Sasha Clinton, available on Amazon under the pen name Sasha Clinton. Also, check out my channel for more free lesbian romance audiobooks.